Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Here we go, everybody. It's Monday night. The Sports Hounds are live from the Real Talk Studios, Runnymede, New Jersey. As always, we're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. 3 convenient locations, no appointment necessary. Visit SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com for more details. We got a big-time hockey show. The Flyers currently in battle at the Wells Fargo Center with the Florida Panthers. 1-1, the end of one. Carter Hart back in net. We have a lot to talk about with Major League Baseball.
By the way, you want the good news or the bad news with in the NHL scoreboard?
Well, what's the good news? Bad news is Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby, producing the show as always. We'll get to the poll question in just a minute. And as always, we're going to bring you your comments on Facebook and YouTube.
The Islanders are spanking the Capitals.
Well, we're going to get into these standings because the Flyers are in a
3-1, and the Blue Jackets are trailing Tampa Bay 1-0 right now. And you know Tampa Bay.
This is a free-for-all in the East.
Tampa Bay owes Columbus 1.
All right, let's jump right into it. Let's get to our poll question of the day, brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. Go to their website, atsportspicks.com. Use the promo code A2D, 20% off their services. The Philadelphia Flyers will make the NHL playoffs. Hashtag agree, hashtag disagree. Now, this is not going to be easy, Brad, but I got to agree. I love this team. I love the grit and determination of this team. I love the goaltending of this team with Carter Hart back. I love the coach of this team. I love the talent of this team. I love a lot of things about this Philadelphia Flyers team. I think they're going to get in the playoffs.
I agree.
I don't know if they're going to be a top 3 metropolitan team. They might have to settle for a wild card. But I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think that they're going to be a pain in the ass to get out of the playoffs.
I think what's going to happen is that I think that they're going to find a way to get into third place.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, and I think they could definitely win a round this year. I do think that. But I think they've got to get into third place. If they can get into third place, I think they could beat the Penguins. I think they could beat the Islanders. Even though Washington's been awful and they've been struggling, yada, 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 they're still going to win the division because they're Washington. And in the NHL, it's a long season, and, teams have their ups and downs.
It sounds like Washington's a little bit of a lull right now.
Washington's in a lull.
The Flyers' last game,
they're also
put up a 7 spot.
Yeah, the Islanders just
down in Washington.
put 3 on them in the first period. So in the last 4 periods, 10 goals. That's a lot of goals. The Islanders are not the Flyers. They are not an offensive juggernaut either. So
no, the Islanders have shifted from an offensive juggernaut that couldn't play any defense at all to a team under Barry Trotz, right? That's his name, right?
Yes.
Trotz.
Barry Trotz happens to be an outstanding coach.
Terrific.
He's the difference.
I think him and Tortorella are really proving their worth in this year's Eastern Conference.
Especially Tortorella, because that
they lost their whole team to free agents.
They lost 3 top players. Basically, you could make the argument they lost 3 of their 4 best players. I mean, Seth Jones is one of their best players. But right now Seth Jones is hurt, so I don't know about the Columbus Blue Jackets right now. I think the Flyers are going to make the playoffs. To me, they look like a playoff team. They have enough scoring depth. If Hart can stay healthy and steady and not get overworked, I think that they will make the playoffs this year. To me, they look like a playoff team.
Carter Hart missed 9 games.
They
go 6-2-1. Brian Elliott did a great job.
Brian Elliott stepped
manning
up.
the ship outside of that horrendous loss last Thursday night, 5-0 to a bad Devils team, which happens.
I'm going to tell you, in hockey, it's a long season, and you're going to have games like that. It's going to happen, especially at home. For whatever reason, it seems like all these teams
Yeah, the
have
Wells.
these horrible games at home. They don't have the horrible games like that on the road, but they have these horrible games at home where they get behind early and then they start making dumb mistakes to try to make up the lead.
Talk
and then
about dumb
make
mistake.
it
It's a
work.
bad turnover. Number
They got away with
82
it.
there. I'm not even really sure who that is. But we're just into the
If
second period here.
if
It's 1-1.
92, I think it's Huberdeau. The Panthers offensively are loaded.
Yes.
Huberdeau, Trocheck. They've got a lot of guys who can put the puck in the net. I'm trying to remember some of the other really, really good players that they have on their team.
Well, I mean, they've scored 192 goals
they
on
can
the
score.
season, so
They
they
can-
can really light the lamp.
Yeah, they can really score.
But
I mean,
getting back to the Flyers and their goaltending, Carter Hart came
Carter Hart,
out crisp in this game because the Flyers are extremely lucky that this game's only 1-1 because they got jumped on for about 90% of that first period. It really got outplayed.
Doesn't matter.
Provorov was able to light the lamp late in the first to tie the game.
Doesn't matter. All that matters is the ones that
But
get
Carter
that go
Hart
in.
looks good.
Well, he's going to have to stay healthy. Brian Elliott played real well as a backup, and basically that's the kind of role that you can really trust Elliott in. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. He's not really a starting goalie.
No.
He can never play more than about 40, 45 games without getting hurt. But you put him in, for a short burst, he'll give you what you need. And he's proven it.
Nice
He's
chance
proven it
there
this
for the
time.
Flyers. Flyers, first 4 minutes here, the second period, already looking a lot more crisp, a lot more sharp than they did in the first period to start. Like I said, they were able to get the goal late to, kind of right the ship. So we both agree that the Flyers are going to
I think
make
they'll
the playoffs.
To me, they look like a playoff team. They've got enough veterans now that they should be able to be okay. It seems like Kevin Hayes has stabilized their penalty kill, which they needed to do, and that is something Kevin Hayes has always been.
Kevin
good
Hayes
at.
having a great season.
How many goals does he have now?
16 goals. I just had the stats up here. He has 16 goals. Come on.
Christ, if he has 16 goals and Kreider has 20, how much money is Kreider going to want?
Well,
I hate to see the Rangers lose him, but he's gonna. If Hayes makes $7 million a year, Kreider's gonna make $7 million a year too, at least. Well, Hayes is a good player though. Never said he wasn't. My only problem with Hayes was when he was with the Rangers. He took a lot of shifts off, and he was not a smart player. But
Kevin Hayes has
cracked down.
17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points. The only thing that concerns me about Kevin Hayes is he's a minus 11 in the plus-minus. Now, I don't know what.
That can be deceiving too.
Well, he's on the penalty kill a lot, so I guess maybe that.
Yeah, but that
goes
that
into
doesn't
it.
go. That doesn't have anything to do with his offense.
I think it's more of a
With the plus minus, that's on the.
he might score 30 goals, 17 goals. Everyone talks about how good a season Konechny's having, and deservingly so.
Hayes
He's been a
has never
stud,
scored-
but Kevin Hayes
has never scored 30 goals before. I think the most
he has
scored
one less
was
goal than Konechny, who was the Flyers' only All-Star. So he's having a really good season.
Yeah,
well
he
worth
scored.
it.
He scored the most. I think he scored 25 one year for the Rangers. I think last year he had 25 with the goals he scored in Winnipeg. If I'm not mistaken. I'm surprised he doesn't have more assists because he always seemed to get a lot of assists when he was with the Rangers. Little surprised he's a minus like that. But again, my criticism of Hayes was that when Hayes has the puck in the offensive end, he's always engaged. He's not very engaged in his own end, and that was a problem.
What do you mean engaged?
In other
he doesn't care. He's not trying.
It's not that he's not trying. It's that he's more worried about getting the breakout pass and heading up the ice instead of getting his nose dirty, going into the corners trying to win battles. And that was part of the problem. A lot of Ranger fans used to call him Lazy Hazy in our fan groups. So I mean that he did have that issue, but you know what? I'm sure he's not doing that with the Flyers because Flyer fans would be all over him if he was doing that, and they wouldn't miss a beat when it comes to that stuff. So, I mean, I got to tell you, he's done well. perhaps Alain Vigneault, being there is good for him. Alain Vigneault kind of did, nurture him as a youngster when he first came into the Ranger organization.
There's a chance.
2-0. There you go.
Nice. 2-0. Van Riemsdyk. What was that? Voracek to Van Riemsdyk, I think. That's nice right there.
Yeah, that was a bad giveaway by Florida.
A bad giveaway,
but that
Flyers came storming out of the box.
That flyer forechecking once again. If you watch this play, you watch how they forward.
Well, this guy number 5 there is being lazy.
Oh yeah. Well, he gave
away
the
Voracek. And I got to give
beautiful.
Look,
pass.
I've been on Jake Voracek for a lot of years now for not living up to his contract and being kind of a little bit of a frustrating player, not using his size and speed to his advantage.
Like Hayes was with the Rangers.
Alain Vigneault has totally fixed that. Jake Voracek's having a fantastic season.
Well, I would think that knowing Alain Vigneault, like I do, at least when he was with the Rangers, he had his Chateau Bow Wow, as they call it, the doghouse, and it didn't take much to get into that doghouse. So I think some of these guys learn pretty quick. And if you listen to him, he's a very good offensive coach. And the way he coaches, he coaches that the defense move the puck up the ice, and he loves the headman pass, the stretch pass, if you will. That's what he's good at, and clogging up the middle. And he does a lot of forechecking, and that's winning hockey. I mean, the fact that he hasn't won the Stanley Cup yet is not really his fault. When he went to the finals with that Vancouver team, Boston was better, and the same thing with the Rangers when they played the Kings. I mean, the Kings were a better team. It wasn't his fault. He took teams that, well, Vancouver maybe was expected to go to the finals, but he took that team and got them to the finals, really without any guys who were who had muscle. And they were just out-muscled and worn down by the Bruins. But the same kind of thing with the Rangers. I mean, the Kings were just bigger, stronger, and the Flyers have some size, and that should in combination with the goaltending, they should be able to make the playoffs. I would be very surprised if they don't. I definitely think that team can win a round if they don't suffer any serious injuries.
And then one thing to piggyback on your Alain Vigneault comment, he holds the players accountable.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got that. He has a doghouse.
That's, to me, in professional sports.
He puts guys in the doghouse. And he will let everybody know who's in the doghouse. It's not unknown when somebody goes into the doghouse with him.
Right, and then I think the most important role for a coach in professional sports with these players that make so much money and are just coddled their whole lives because they're good at sports is accountability. That's the most important holding.
Ask Anthony D'Angelo.
I mean,
he got in the doghouse with Vigneault, and I'll tell you what, it took him almost 3/4 of the season to get out.
But let's look at the recent landscape in Philadelphia sports. I'm sure New York. I mean, you can speak to it as well. Look at Gabe Kapler. He didn't hold his players accountable. The inmates ran the asylum, and the Phillies stunk, and they underachieved. Look at Brett Brown with the Sixers right now. He does not hold Joe and Ben accountable. Joe and Ben, now you get Shushgate. You got Ben doesn't shoot. I don't get the feeling that Brett Brown holds the Sixers accountable. That's why the Sixers are in the situation.
I agree with
are
you.
in the situation that they're in.
He doesn't have an edge to him. You look at coaches that have an edge to them. And, listen, Vigneault is a player's coach. I'm not going to say he's not. He's not as nasty like, say, Tortorella is. Tortorella is brutal. But some guys respond to that.
They do.
They do.
It's like Pete Rose said. There's 3 ways you treat a player. You get on their ass, you leave them alone, and I forget what he said.
I think he said something about you have to treat everybody differently.
Yeah, you treat everyone differently. If a guy doesn't like being in the spotlight, if he folds up in the spotlight, then keep him out of the kitchen.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. But
that's what I think.
Vigneault used to do that with Kreider because, Kreider was like that at times. Kreider would take a week or 2 weeks off and not be flying. And then all of a sudden, he'd put him in the 4th line, and then the next game he'd come out like a crazy man.
You got to hold these guys accountable.
They're all – it's all like that. Now, the one thing that Vigneault did that got him fired in New York was that he put young players in the doghouse a little too much, and they felt like he wasn't putting some of the veterans in the doghouse. Perfect examples: Joe Girardi and Mark Stahl. I mean, that those two should have been in the doghouse a lot, and he just basically let them get away with murder. And some of the other guys, the younger players, were benched all the time. But if you give him a veteran type team with some good young players mixed in, he's not a guy that's going to take a young team that's loaded with young players and no veterans. He's not going to raise their level.
No, that's not the coach. That's not the coach.
That's not him. That's not him. He's not going to do that. But you give him a younger team with some veterans on the team, he will do wonders with that kind of a team.
Yeah, and that was kind of your criticism of the Flyers in the past during their dark years, is that they had too much disparity between
that was my problem with them.
Young players and old players.
You had guys that were 20 years old and guys that were 30 years old. You had too many guys that were like 10 years apart. Now they kind of got guys sort of in the middle.
They got a good mix.
They've got in my opinion, a perfect mix, and they have a perfect coach for that. And he is an offensive coach. And if you remember the Sundin twins in Vancouver, how good they were.
Yes.
Just remember who their coach was.
Elaine Vigneault.
Absolutely, and I mean, the guy can coach. There's no question about that if you give him the right players, and I think that team has the right players. To me, they look like a very solid hockey team right now.
Chrome checks in. Check out Chrome tomorrow on Birds of a Feather. Check out Chrome on Thursday on Lazy Booking, right here on A2D Radio. Hey fellas, Flyers look strong again. Hart will settle in and shake off the rust. Most exciting team in the city to watch.
John Van Reem, by the way, David Roska, I saw that little comment about JVR to the Ducks. There's no way.
No.
The Ducks are not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's get something straight, okay? You don't have to ask the Hockey Happy Hour this one, okay? The Ducks are not trading for James Van Riemsdyk, okay? The Ducks are
Don't they stink?
The Ducks are going to have a fire sale.
Right.
Okay? They're getting rid of guys. They're not going to keep guys.
But
okay,
look, I see on Facebook all the time.
This is 2 awful years in a row for them. So, David, I'm sorry. I'm answering your question now. Not happening, and they're not going to get Silverberg. No, they're not going to get Silverberg. Why would the Flyers want to trade Silverberg for Van Riemsdyk? That's a lateral move.
Why do the Flyers look?
If the Flyers are going to get Silverberg, okay, then they're going to get Silverberg for a young player. But if you're Anaheim, what are you going to want for Silverberg? You're going to want a first-round pick in Frost, or
it's a nice glove save there by Carter Hart.
Or that other kid, the one that's got 6 goals already. I can't remember his name.
Frost?
Not Frost. The other one.
Farabee,
yeah.
Farabee's awesome.
Yeah, they're not. I mean,
Billy Joel, man.
Yeah, they're not gonna. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that for him,
guys. But I'm sick. When's the trade deadline?
The 24th.
24th of February.
Yes.
So 2 weeks away.
It's Monday. It's 2 Mondays from today.
The Flyers, I see a lot of people wanting to trade Shane Gostisbehere. I see a lot of people wanting to trade JVR. The Flyers should be adding, not trading NHL talent. They should be trading their farm system to try and win now.
It depends.
I think they need to add a defenseman. I don't see how it makes sense to trade Gostisbehere.
It depends. If you're gonna if they're gonna trade Gostisbehere and they're gonna trade Van Riemsdyk, okay, it's to make room to make a big trade and get a big time player in here. That's the only reason I could see doing that. Because other than that, why would you do that? The Flyers are a good team. They're not gonna rip their team apart and go bare bones minimum when they're probably going to be in the playoffs. But
you see what I'm saying? I want to add players to play with JVR and Gostisbehere.
And these young players need to make the playoffs at this point. The Flyers are done with not making the play. That was a great save, by the way.
Was that a save? Did that get through?
Unless he missed the net.
I don't know if that got through.
I can't believe they didn't score on that play. But the Flyers need to make the playoffs. It's very important in the development of this team that these guys make the playoffs and don't miss. Because there comes a point where you can't keep missing the playoffs.
at the deadline.
Yeah, just don't be reckless, and I'm sure they won't be.
Flyers are going to be buyers. Hold on, did I miss anything? All right, Chrome agrees with me. He wants the Flyers to be buyers. Any player or position you see them targeting, I think Ghost is gone.
I wouldn't have a problem with them trading him. I think he's.
Look, I get on Ghost a lot, but I want as much talent on this team for the stretch run
Yeah, but he is
as I can.
He's a defensive
So
liability, though. He really is, and if you could trade him and get yourself a a top-notch forward.
Okay, that's fine. I don't want to see them trade Shane Gostisbehere because they already paid him, and they want to get draft picks.
It depends who you're
bullshit
getting.
like that.
It depends who you're getting. I mean, if you're gonna trade Shane Gostisbehere for say Pajot, that's a dumb trade. You don't trade him for a rental. But if you're going to trade him for a guy that's signed and you have control over, that can score, a forward, it may not be a bad idea. Because
I'm just saying, I think
they need
to add a defenseman, not trade one away.
I know, but I don't think you can win in this league with defensemen who are completely defensive liabilities, and he is a defensive liability. I mean, that's the problem.
I don't disagree
That's the
with
problem.
that.
I mean, that's the problem my Rangers are having right now with Anthony DeAngelo. As good a player as he is offensively, he's still not a good defenseman. In his own end, he's just not good. And unless you find a defenseman who can make up for his misgivings, so to speak, it's never going to work. I mean, even the great Bobby Orr back in the day had Dallas Smith back there, and Dallas Smith was probably in his day the best defensive stay-at-home defenseman in the NHL. So, I mean, but that's the kind of guy Gostisbehere would need if the Flyers are going to be successful and having him in the team. And I don't think they have a guy really like that you can match with him. I think they're better off trading him and getting themselves a big-time offensive player. I wouldn't be surprised. I could see them making a deal with the Maple Leafs, try to get one of those good young forwards. You might be able to do that.
Like
Marner.
You got to give me name. Okay,
Marner or Nylander, not Matthews, obviously.
They gave Marner.
They gave Marner the money. They gave Marner the money, but if you're going to
he
trade,
signed a long-term deal or just like a
he's
a
signed.
Band-Aid deal.
No, he's signed.
Signed?
I think he's 8 years. But I mean, that's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy you could trade Gostisbehere for. If you're going to trade him and you're going to trade Van Riemsdyk, you're clearing salary. That's the kind of guy you want to trade him for. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Otherwise, you're trading draft picks for Pajot, or you're trading prospects and draft picks for Kreider. That's really where you're going to go at this point. I know. I mean, if you really want a veteran leader on the team, you can go for a guy like Joe Thornton, or you can go for a guy like Patrick Marleau on the Sharks. Because I can tell you right now, the Sharks are going to be selling.
They stink.
Everybody's going to be available on that team.
The Kings stink.
The Kings are terrible. I don't think they're going to trade
Kopitar.
No, I don't think he's going anywhere because he's the face of the franchise, and they have to have somebody. They have to keep somebody. But I think guys like Alec Martinez, who was the one that won the Stanley Cup for them against the Rangers.
Wow, look at the Islanders. Islanders are boat racing the Capitals.
What is it now?
5-1.
I told you. The Capitals right now are in disarray. It happens. It's
and
a long
the Panthers have just taken, it looks like they're just beginning, 2-minute power play, Robert Hagg hooking 2 minutes. So hopefully the boys can fend this off, keep it at a 2-1 game. They've really turned the tables on the Panthers this period. They've really taken the bull by the horns in this second period and are really playing good hockey. That's an excellent save on a point-blank
great save.
shot.
That was a great save.
Carter Hart's playing awesome.
Yeah, that was a great save.
I'm still not sure if that other puck reached the net or not, but he's playing great, and he was
that deflected?
Iffy.
That was blocked.
It's blocked, but then he got it right. Oh, Konechny looks a little banged up after blocking a shot. Hopefully he's all right. What's the word on Nolan Patrick? Would love to see him back. That's from John Coyle. He's practicing, but, no return date's been set. He's had concussion after concussion, and we know how concussions are treated in today's sports. So
he may be sitting out for a little longer.
He hasn't played at all this year.
Yeah, no, I know he hasn't. It's a shame. What was he, like a first or second round pick?
First overall
pick or the second overall pick? First, okay. Yeah,
I think he was the first.
No, I think he was second. I think that
might have
was the
been
year
second.
the Devils drafted. Wasn't that the year the Devils drafted Nico Hersher first?
I couldn't.
I
You'd
think,
be able to tell me that more
I
than
think
more
that
than
was.
me.
I think he was the second pick in the draft. But most people considered him the best player, except for Lou Lamoriello. So, I mean, look at this point. At this point in the season, I think the Flyers are in pretty good shape. I think these young guys are getting enough experience. I think they're getting better every game. You're gonna have some clunkers like you did against the Devils. That's hockey. I mean, they're not a perfect team. I mean, they've got some. Every team has some flaws in their game, and the Flyers have a couple too. But you know what? At this point, you would have to say these young guys are getting better and better as the season goes along, and I think they're going to do okay. I think they're going to be a very annoying team to have to play in the playoffs. I would like to see
That's a huge hit by number 15 there to end up that power play. Panthers really didn't get much going on that power play. Flyers are really swarming here in the second period.
If I'm a Flyer fan, what I would like is an enforcer on the team. I mean, a real mean guy who can drop them as well as play. I think they need that. I think that's something.
Does anybody come to mind that might be on the block?
Right now, I mean,
You're gonna say Kreider? Or you say Kreider?
No, Kreider's not.
Everything.
Kreider is not that kind of a player. He can drop him. He can drop him, but I mean, he's not he's not a killer if you get into a fight with him. Like a guy like Jamie Benn, that kind of player. If they can get a guy like
stud.
that,
Isn't Dallas good?
And he can also beat the hell out of you too.
Isn't he?
Yeah, but
He's
that's
not
the
going
kind.
anywhere, is he?
Well, no, probably not. But I'm not saying him. I'm giving you an example. Okay, of a kind of player. I mean, Ryan Reeves would be. I'll tell you what. Ryan Reeves would be great on this team, huh?
He can fight,
and he can also score. He scored 63 goals in his career. I mean, he's not a no talented player like say a Tanner Glass was. A guy like that. I mean,
Ty Domi.
Right. He's not that guy. He can
Donald Brashear.
He can actually play a little bit, and you know what? He terrorizes the other team. A guy like that, I think a guy like that would go over real well in Philly. I think that's kind of what they should be.
We love our goons in Philly.
Yes, but
love
this team doesn't really have a guy like that. They I mean, really at this point, I mean, they let Chris Stewart go, and he was really about the only one on the team that was like that. But he was just too old and too slow. But I wouldn't mind seeing them get that kind of a guy. I'll tell you what, the guy McDermott on the Kings, he may not be a bad guy to get either.
All right, Greg Check saying, "What's up, fellas? JVR has a pulse. Let's go." I agree with the poll. Hart is back, and we'll continue to roll. Big stretch coming up against some good teams. Greg hit the nail on the head right there, because this is probably the biggest stretch of the Flyers season right here, coming up.
Absolutely.
In these next, I would say it's about 2 weeks.
Well, the other thing is, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to start seeing who's for real and who's not for real, and I would think some of these playoff battles, I think some of these teams are going to get separated, and there'll be more sellers than there are right now. Because really, at this point, the sellers, I mean, you got Montreal, who's probably going to trade Galchenyuk, however you pronounce his name, Galchenyuk or something like that. Galchenyuk. He's probably going to get traded. The Sabres have guys that they probably are going to trade. I don't think they're going to trade Eichel. I'd have to see that to believe it. The Red Wings will probably be looking to trade guys like Abdelkader.
So
Abdelkader would actually be a good fit for the Flyers.
So this is the stretch.
I think he would be a very good fit. I mean, he's a nasty, nasty player. And he's the kind of guy. He's kind of like Simmons. He likes to stand in front of the net, and if you get on his nerves, he'll beat you up. And he'll protect the other players in the team. I'd like to see them get a guy like that. I really think it would behoove them to do that.
So today's February 10th. They have a big stretch coming up. The next 10 days.
Yep.
They're playing Florida right now. They're playing well. They're at the Islanders tomorrow. Then they're at Florida again on the 13th. Saturday the 15th, they're at Tampa Bay. Then the 18th and the 20th, they have a home and home with Columbus. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games.
Against teams that they're
What do
battling
you think? You
got to
get 7, 8 points out of this?
Six games. I would like to see 4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Yeah,
with
I'd
some,
like to see
maybe
4
some
and 2.
maybe some Bettman points splashed in there.
8 points, depending on maybe 9.
8
But if
points.
you can get 9, if you can get more than 8 points, then you've done a terrific job.
Greg checks in. Patrick was the second pick. He traveled with the team to Washington, and this was the 4th straight practice he was in. Great signs. It's a good update there. Jim Coyle, the Flyers won't make any splashes at the deadline. Getting Patrick healthy is our trade. Keeping Ghost till the offseason makes no sense to move him. You won't get a better piece without giving up NHL talent. I kind of agree with John Coyle there. I think you get Patrick back and you get Ghost back. Those are kind of like de facto deadline moves right there.
Absolutely. David Roska.
And then Carter Hart just came back tonight.
Mentioning Jason Zucker to the Penguins for Galen. I cannot pronounce his name. Galchenyuk. Yeah, Galchenyuk and Jason Zucker. Jason Zucker, I do think Minnesota might trade him. It might be time for him to go because his production has kind of gone down. I think I could see them letting him go.
Andrew Newman says the days of enforcers are over.
No, not if they can play.
Brian Daly, Jason Zucker traded to Pittsburgh. That just happened. Is that breaking news?
Not that I know of. Did that happen? Because I don't know about that. I mean,
Brian Daly from the Hockey Happy Hour.
Did that happen?
I don't know. We could check it out. That's a good get for the.
If that happened, that's a good get for Pittsburgh. If they got Galyenchuk and Jason Zucker, I would wonder what they had to. I would wonder what they would have to do to get guys like that.
I don't see that. But looking at the scoreboard, Flyers up 2-1 on the Penguins. Montreal up 2-1 on the Coyotes. The Islanders boat racing the Capitals 5-2. Tampa Bay's up 1-0 on Columbus. Nashville, Vancouver later tonight. Calgary, San Jose also later tonight.
Here's the trade, by the way. They're right. The Penguins have acquired Jason Zucker, and they've gave up Alex Galchenyuk.
Whatever, yeah, we got you.
Yeah, Kalen Addison, who I don't know who that is, and a number 1 pick. So
that's a good get.
That's
by
a good get.
Penguins.
Would that tell you that Jay Getzel is probably gone for the season? I mean, if they're getting a guy like Zucker, that would tell me, especially if they're giving up a first-round pick, that would kind of tell me that Getzel might be gone for the season. And if that's the case, that is a huge loss. Although they've played well without him, but still, that's to not have him the rest of the season. That could be tough because Getzel, if you remember last year, I believe he scored 40 goals for them.
Oh, he's a great player.
Yeah, he is. Wow.
Another great save.
Great save by
Carter Hart.
Carter Hart here.
Flyers are on a power play right now. 20 seconds left. Got a little sidetracked. Missed the power play here. I'd like to see him up 3-1 going into the third.
Yeah, 2-goal lead.
Maybe win this draw, which they haven't won many draws tonight. I don't have the box score right in front of me, but I get the sense watching the game they haven't done so hot on Facebook on face-offs. And I also haven't seen Claude Giroux doing much this game. So
yeah, I'm a little surprised he wasn't out there for that face-off, but one thing I'll say about Hayes, if he ever just decided to start standing in front of the net with that size of his, how would you ever move him?
You can't.
See, yeah, I mean that's as a Ranger fan, that's what frustrated me about him.
Brian Daly.
If he had a mean streak, he could stand. He would stand in front of the net. He could score 40, 50 goals because nobody really can knock him. Look, nobody can really knock him off the puck. And
that was a pretty good save by Bobrovsky in his own right.
Oh, outstanding save.
Brian Daly, I'm assuming this is in reference to Jason Zucker. Great middle six player, 20-goal scorer who has a gritty side to his play. Gunsel could be back by the playoffs.
Okay.
I believe he is a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, so
He would know that.
he
then.
would know.
Yeah, I was going to say, but that means Gunsell is out for the rest of the regular season for sure. Then. If
I
he
mean,
could be
according
back
to
for the
Brian
playoffs.
Daly
Okay.
from the
All right.
Happy, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that because I was thinking that's obviously what it means, and the Penguins are probably trying to, make sure in case he's not. No, Zucker is still a good player, but again, he's not the player he's been the last couple of years. His production's been going down every year. But you know what? It's funny how when you play with Crosby and Malkin, suddenly your production kicks up a little bit. And Minnesota has been kind of a stale hockey team this year. I mean, I think the problem with Minnesota is, they hung on to some of their veterans too long, and that team just got stale. That's kind of what happens a lot in this league. If you don't bring in good young players every year, and then they traded Charlie Coyle, which I still don't understand why they did that. But in any event, right now it seems like it's good news, except for the Islanders, who, are running it up on Washington. Boy, it's amazing. Washington, when you look at it, somebody just scored for the Flyers, so it's now
There it is.
3-1.
There's my 3-1. Nice. I don't know who got that, but Joe Quenneville doesn't look pleased on the sidelines for the Florida
No,
Panthers.
well, they kind of let him walk in. And
Who's that? Was it number 6, lighting the lamp? Is that Sanheim?
they're upset about something.
Possibly a challenge. Can you challenge in hockey?
Of course you can. You can challenge goals. Looking to see what happened here. I don't know what they're complaining about, unless it was offside.
Didn't look offside.
Let's
Perhaps
see.
a kick? What's wrong with that?
I don't see any reason why that goal would be overturned, unless they're looking for an offside.
So
And
Sanheim lights the lamp. Flyers go up 3-0.
Yeah, there's no reason-
8th goal of the season.
there's no reason why that
That's a
goal
big
shouldn't
goal
count.
right there
Yeah.
because the Florida Panthers won the first period and went into the intermission tied. The Flyers won the second period and are going to have a 2-goal advantage.
Well, again, that's
Hopefully a 2-goal advantage going into the third period.
you would think so.
Flyers taking advantage of their hot period while being able to right the ship in the first period when they started kind of slow and stale is probably going to be the difference of this game. Hopefully for the Flyers.
You would like to see the Flyers kind of get a bigger lead so they can make sure they're using all 4 lines so that they don't overuse anybody because they have a big one tomorrow night.
Against the Islanders, yes.
I mean that's a big 4-point game in the division. As I said, to me, the Flyers really need to come in third. 4th place or 5th place. I mean, while it gets them in the playoffs, and sure, that's not a bad thing. By the time the playoffs come around, I don't really think that you want to play Boston or Washington in the first round of the playoffs. Be very tough for them to advance in the first round. If they can play a team that's more on their level and beat them, then they may have a pretty good chance to sneak into the second or third round. And maybe give a team like them a tougher go because they've been through a round and they're a little tired. A team like the Bruins or a team like the Capitals.
Okay, are the Flyers better than the Maple Leafs?
I think right now they are. I think the Maple Leafs have a lot of problems right now. They are not a good defensive hockey team. And I've said it a million times. I don't like Frederick Anderson. This guy Campbell that they just picked up, he's not that good either. He's not the answer. Their defense is not good. They let Jay Gardner go to the Canes, which they had to do because they paid Nylander all that money. You can't keep everybody, so they're in a tough spot. They really need to do something defensively at the trade deadline. Either goaltending wise, because I don't think that guy Campbell is gonna make a big difference for them.
And Brian Daly's a Ducks fan who's pays attention to the whole league. So I never want to disrespect anybody like that. Labeling someone a Penguin, a dirty, stinking, rotten Penguins fan.
Oh, you made a
when
mistake
they're
that
not,
he was. Oh, okay. We're
when they're
sorry.
not a Penguins fan.
We're sorry about that. If we
Kleinkopf's the Penguins fan.
Okay. No, I don't doubt that they don't know a lot about hockey. I know
they
do.
know a lot about
They're
hockey.
very
Every
good. They're
Thursday
very
night
good.
at 10, they kill it.
They're very good. They're very good.
Outside of Tommy's shows, I think they're the longest running show here. unless the fix is.
The fix is about we are 5 years in.
5 years in?
5 years in.
Good for you
Hockey
guys.
happy hour is longer than the fix, though. And another thing, too, we are running into some technical issues on Facebook, so I'm going to attach a link to the YouTube link in the chat below.
All right,
So
sounds good.
So if you are watching on Facebook, jump right over to YouTube. We'll be continuing the conversation right there. Back to Brad and Rob.
Andrew Newman, rumor goes to Vegas for Brady McNabb and a couple second-round picks.
Who? Who goes to Vegas?
Goes Gossosphere for Brady McNabb and a couple of second-round picks.
Not enough.
Brady McNabb, the
Not enough.
nephew of
Peter
former
McNabb? Oh, Peter McNabb?
no, Donovan McNabb.
Oh, Donovan McNabb.
It's his nephew.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Wonder if he throws up on the ice. Big games.
Oh, boy. Here we go. How did I know that? Oh, jeez.
Did you see? So that's not enough. So Brady McNabb's pretty good. I don't know.
He's not bad, but
I
I
don't know a
wouldn't.
damn thing about Brady McNabb.
I wouldn't do that if I were them. I don't think that's enough.
So you think Brady McNabb is
As I
better
said,
than Shane Gossosphere?
No, I don't think it's enough for the Flyers.
Okay.
I think the Flyers.
So you think the Flyers would get shafted in that trade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that trade for the Flyers. As I said, if I'm going to trade Shane Gossosphere, okay, I'm going to make him part of a package so I can get a big time scorer. I want to get a big time scorer on this team. That's what I would want to do at this point. That would be the kind of thing if you're going to trade Gossosphere, okay, and you're going to trade JVR. You're talking about making a kind of deal and trading a first round pick or something like that. You're talking about trying to get a guy like Jack Eichel. That's what you should be going after. That's the kind of player. That's the kind of player that could get you into the Stanley Cup Finals. To be quite honest with you,
Right.
that's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy they need to go after. Now I don't know Buffalo. Just I don't know what's going on with them. It seems like they are perpetually
bad every year, and
They've
they get
been-
all these top draft picks, and they can never seem to get any better.
The only good player they seem to have drafted was Eichel. It seems like everybody else has been a miserable failure. I mean, look, Rasmus Dahlin's been a pretty good player. I would give you that. He's coming along pretty nicely, but I mean the rest of the team they're really flat. I mean, you would have thought at the beginning of the season they started real well. And if you remember a couple of years ago, Rob, I had mentioned to you about the Sabres. I thought the Sabres were ahead of the Flyers. I was very high on the Sabres, and it just hasn't happened for them.
A coaching move? I mean, what can you do? I mean, it's not like Buffalo's
I think
a big free agent destination.
That's a GM move. And you know what? As far as free agents go, if you have the money, if they have the money,
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They'll go. The players chase the money in hockey just like they do everywhere else.
Right.
And Buffalo is a real good hockey town. I mean, they love their hockey up there. They're real good sports fans. The Bills fans are.
Bills Mafia.
There is rabid
two
and loyal.
sports.
Yeah, there is
No NBA,
rabid.
no
yeah,
MLB.
That's as rabid a sports town as you're ever going to have. They're just not a big enough city to have baseball and basketball for whatever reason. NBA basketball failed there a long time ago.
But I mean, looking at the Western Conference, kind of shift gears a little bit here.
Well, one team that's on the border. One team is on the border is our buddy James Wilder's Winnipeg Jets. I believe they're like 1 point out of the playoffs at this point. That's a team that made a lot of moves in the offseason.
They are currently the first wild card in the.
Oh, they're in the wild card now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are. The Jets have 63 points. The Flames have 62 points. I mean, that's a team that's taken a step back this year. The Flames. Arizona and Nashville just out at 61 and 59. Minnesota and Chicago have 58 points.
I think Chicago is going to be. Moving some guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
they
they're not going
had
to be
their
able
run.
to.
They got to be getting old now.
Oh, they're very old now. That's the problem. I mean, they kept on. They hung on to some of their guys too long. I mean, Kane is still great, but Taze is not nearly what he used to be. Hossa retired a long time ago.
There's defensemen, Duncan Keith and Seabrook.
Duncan Keith and Seabrook are old. They're
Yeah.
not. They're not as good. They're not top-notch defensemen anymore. I mean, the run is over. If you take a look at the top teams from the early 2010 to 2015 era, the Rangers, the Kings, and the
The
Blackhawks.
only one that's even viable right now seems to be the Penguins because they have maybe the best player of all time on their team.
Well, they still have Crosby and
Malkin.
Malkin, and they and Letang, and
He's such a pain in the ass, Chris Letang. I love that. He's the type of player
he's
that
the
you'd love
kinda-
to have on your team, but you hate him if he's not on your team.
yeah. See, he's the kind of player that would be perfect on the Flyers if he didn't get hurt all the time. Because I mean, he's the guy I was describing. The guy that can score and can kick your ass. That's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy. If you're the Flyers, that's the kind of guy I want to see on the team. They could use that. The Devils are certainly going to be making some moves. They're going to be getting rid of people. Guys like Wayne Simmons and Palmieri, they're going to be gone.
I mean, I'm looking at the Western Conference right now. I mean, it seems like the Eastern Conference is a much more competitive conference than the West. I mean, the only two teams that really stand out to me as being viable contenders for the Stanley Cup are the Blues and the Avalanche.
No, that's
is that wrong?
That's pretty
or
accurate.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, the Avalanche without question.
Maybe the Oilers because they have the best guy. Maybe.
I mean, I know they just extended Nurse, so he's not going to get traded because I kept hearing that they might be trading Nurse, so I guess he's going to be around. But I mean, if you look like the Red Wings, the Senators, the Sabres, the Canadians, they're probably going to be getting rid of guys. Yeah, they're going to be dealing. The Rangers and Devils are going to be dealing. Then you go to the Western Conference.
Do you draw a line? Where do you draw the line in the East? In terms of contenders and pretenders, do you draw it at Florida? So the Canadians, Rangers, Sabres, Devils, Senators, Red Wings, they're not going to the playoffs.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know that the Canadians have Carey Price, but you know what? They played the most games in the division. Okay,
and 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, but they have 61 points, and they played 3 more games than the Panthers. They played a game. They have 2. The Lightning have 2 games in hand on them. The Panthers have 3 games in hand on them. The Leafs have a game in hand on them. And then if you look at the wild card teams, they're way behind the Islanders and the Hurricanes and the Flyers. So I don't think the Canadians are a viable team for the playoffs. I just don't. They don't have enough scoring. And then you go to the West. At this point, the Predators are starting to look very, very sketchy as far as a player. I would say.
I mean, they fired Laviolette.
I think the Predators.
They had not had a good season at all.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it now. The Predators are done. They're done. If you look at it, okay, and I look at overtime losses as losses, okay. I don't consider them.
They are losses.
Yeah, I don't consider them ties. I don't consider them anything. I consider.
Well, it's a joke to get a point
Gary
for losing
Bettman,
a game.
Gary Bettman is an idiot. So they're at this point in the season they're 26, 21, and 7. That means for all practical purposes they're 26 and 28. They're under 500. They're not going to make the playoffs. They just aren't. They're not as good as Winnipeg. They're not as good as the Stars or Avalanche or the Blues. And in the Pacific Division, 3 teams automatically make the playoffs. So you're looking basically at the Predators. They're prime teams that they have to catch are the Stars and the Jets. They're not better than them. They're not. So I think they're done. And of course
I mean, is there anyone in the West that's not in the playoffs right now that can jump up into the playoffs? Arizona.
Arizona. Can
you just said
Nashville's
done. They're right under 59, and then you have Minnesota with 58 points.
Minnesota's going to be getting rid of half their team. They just traded Jason Zucker, so that should tell you all you need to know about them. The Ducks, the Kings, the Sharks, they're all done. The Coyotes and Flames are still in it because again,
the Flames are the second wild card right now, and Arizona's 1 point out.
No, the Flames are not. Wait a minute.
No, I have it right here. It's right on my
2,
screen.
3, 4. Okay, yeah, they are the second wild card. The Coyotes are still in it. Okay, they're still
That's
in
one team. So what? There's 9 possible teams for 8 spots. Is that what you're telling me about the Western Conference?
it. Yeah, I think the Western Conference is not very good.
Doesn't seem to be that good.
No, it's really not. I mean,
And then
you
in
know,
the West,
the fact that the Vancouver Canucks, who are, if you can, as I said, I'm counting overtime losses as losses. Okay, the Vancouver Canucks are 30, 21, and 5, which means they're 30 and 26. The fact that a team that is 4 games over 500 in an 8-team division and is in first place, that doesn't
Right.
speak very highly of the division.
the Pacific Division.
Yeah,
there.
the Pacific Division is awful. The Central Division is very, very competitive.
So I just counted 10 of the top 16 teams in the NHL in terms of points right now are in the East.
yeah,
And then you have the 8 teams that are in now, which is Boston, Tampa, Toronto, Washington, Pittsburgh, Columbus,
that
Islanders,
could change.
Hurricanes. That's the 8. Flyers are alive, just out. Panthers are alive, just out. Montreal alive or no?
I don't think I just don't think the Canadians are good enough.
Rangers, we just said no. Buffalo, New Jersey, Ottawa, Detroit are hoping for greener pastures in years to come. So that's what?
That's pretty much. That
so
pretty
that's
much
10.
says it
That's
all.
10 teams instead of 9 for 8
Yeah,
spots.
the Metropolitan Division right now, out of
Clearly
the
the best division.
out of the eight teams, the first 6 are all playoff deserving teams. Even the Rangers. I mean, you look at the Rangers. The Rangers are a 500 hockey team,
Right.
and they're 9 points out of a playoff spot. So I mean, that would tell you just how strong that division is. You know, and if you look at teams like Buffalo, who again should be a lot better than they are, you look at some of their players, and you know, I'm looking at Ristolainen. He's been a major disappointment. Connor Sherry, I could see him getting traded. Joel Skinner has done nothing this year. Last year, I believe he had 36 goals in Carolina, and this year he's not even close to doing what he did last year. So I mean, you know, maybe Jeff Skinner gets traded. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Buffalo is just they really are a disappointing team. They really are. You would have thought when they got him that would be a huge change, and then they got Jimmy Vesey, and Jimmy Vesey hasn't done anything either. So I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at their team, and they should be making some. They'll be making some moves, no doubt.
This fucking Joel Embiid, man. He's. I'm so out on him right now. Now he's on Instagram acting a fool. Sorry to sidetrack from the hockey.
Oh, that's
We'll
okay.
talk about some basketball and then some MLB stuff. Making some noise. They're talking about radical changes to the playoffs. You got Mookie Betts in LA. You got spring training.
If they go and they put 4 playoff teams in, four wild card teams in each league, I mean, I'm personally
It's absurd.
we're gonna have to find out where that
absurd.
stupid commissioner lives.
Manfred.
Yeah, we have to find out where he lives because, and then the idiocy of having a night where the Yankees or the Astros get to pick their opponent. I mean, what kind of
What is
stupidity
this, The
is that?
Bachelor? What are you going to
I
hand
mean,
out
yeah.
roses?
I mean, come on. Seriously,
All right.
you're making baseball a joke.
Third period about to start. Frank, can we take our break? Can we do that? Is that doable?
Of course, it's doable.
All right, so that's the Flyers portion. We're going to be back. We're going to crush Joel Embiid for being a huge wuss. And we got baseball talk. Sixers play the Clippers tomorrow. All that and more when the Sports Hounds return right here on ATD Radio. Back right after this. Welcome back. A2D Radio, A2D Live. Takeover is real. If you miss anything on A2D Radio, catch all of our shows. Stream them. Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, Periscope, Instagram, Facebook. We're absolutely everywhere. We are the Sports Hounds. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby's producing. We're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. 3 convenient locations, no appointment necessary. Visit SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com for more information. We had the poll question, Flyers related. We got a good college basketball game going. Florida State at Cameron Indoor taking on Duke. Coming down to the wire here. Dogging some basketball now. The 76ers back on track. Nice little home stretch here.
They love that home cooking, huh?
They love that home cooking. It also helped that they played, inferior opponents. They blow out the Grizzlies on Friday night. They beat the Bulls behind Furkan Korkmaz's 34 points last night at the Wells Fargo Center over the bottom-feeding
They all count.
Chicago Bulls. Their new players have finally arrived in Philadelphia. Their camel jockey has delivered them to Philadelphia from the West Coast. Not really understand why it took them so long to be able to play, and all these other teams get their traded players. They can play right away. But they play the Clippers tomorrow, Brad. Now, the Clippers are going to be ready to go. There's going to be no load management, I would appear, in this game because the Clippers had a game yesterday, and both Kawhi Leonard and Patrick Beverley, their starting point guard, did not play. So they're going to be raring to go here on the road at the Wells Fargo Center.
2 real big games in the NBA tomorrow night.
What's
Celtics and Rockets.
Celtics and Rockets. Yeah, the Rockets kind of got their new-look team, kind of the unconventional team of the NBA. Their tallest player is 6'6". I don't know if it's going to work out for them, but I did watch their game against the Lakers, which they won at the Staples Center, and they were a lot of fun to watch. A lot of running, a lot of gunning, a lot of jacking threes. So if that's the new NBA where the center's not important, which I don't buy, and you just want to shoot a bunch of threes, then I guess the Rockets are going to win the championship.
He who lives by the 3 dies by the 3.
Looks like the Duke Blue Devils are going to pull this one out over Florida State. Big win. Duke's starting to play well. Did you happen to catch – either of you guys happen to catch the Duke-UNC game on Saturday night?
Well,
No.
I heard about the ending. I forgot what I was busy on Saturday.
I was busy on Saturday,
I
too.
was
I saw the highlights.
I had to work Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, 2 buzzer beaters, overtime. Duke gets the win. North Carolina, I mean, I'd have to look up the last time North Carolina missed the NCAA tournament.
They're that bad now?
They're that bad. They're not going anywhere.
Oh, boy.
And the defending champion Virginia Cavaliers, they might see themselves left out as well.
Wow. Well,
I also don't know when
college
the last
basketball,
time a defending national championship was able to miss the tournament as well.
Well, didn't UConn? UConn almost did it, right?
You might be right. That might be the answer.
When Calhoun got sick, I think
that sounds right.
I think when the year Calhoun got sick, they had won a championship, and the next year Calhoun got sick and
fell apart.
Yeah, and I don't think they met. I mean, I could be wrong.
I know Kentucky missed it the one year after the Anthony Davis year. They missed.
They didn't win that year though. No, yes they did.
Anthony
Davis did
in 2012. Yeah, they beat Kansas. Then the following year, I think they were in the. They went to the NIT and they got upset by Robert Morris.
They lost the first game. Well, because they had no interest in being in the NIT. They just mailed it in and lost.
Well, that happens a lot to some of these teams that go into the NIT. The smaller schools will go in there and play their brains out. Florida just handed the Flyers another power play.
Another one? They were just on the power play.
Yeah, they just got another one because Aaron Ekblad went and shot the puck.
Well, that's
into
the guy
the
who was
stands.
being lazy on the Van Riemsdyk goal. So this is going to be a 17-second 2-man advantage and then a mid-42 one-man advantage.
Flyers now have a chance to put this one away. 3-goal lead in the third period. 3-goal lead in the third period at home. They get a goal, game over.
Back to the NBA, though. Sixers, Clippers tomorrow. I hope they show up.
Oh, I'm sure they'll show up. I mean,
they're at home. They usually play good at home, but you have Joel Embiid. First off, it never ends with this team and the drama and the high school bullshit. And it's starting to get a little ridiculous. Friday night in a blowout win, Al Horford made a big play, and he's shushing the home crowd. Giving them the this.
Why would you do that to your home fans?
Excellent question, Brad. I have no idea on God's green earth.
Don't usually they
why
do
a
this?
Player
They do
who
one of
was
these?
brought in to show Joel Embiid how to be a professional would stoop to those baby high school antics and shush the home crowd. Al Horford's been around. He played in a big-time program in Florida. He played in Boston, where the fans aren't that nice when things are going bad either. Now he's in Philadelphia, shows no situational awareness whatsoever, shushes the home crowd when you're up by 40 points against the Grizzlies. So then, Joel Embiid on Sunday night, what does he do against the Bulls at home when he makes a big play? He shushes the home crowd. Why? Because the player you brought in and paid $28 fucking million a year to show Joel Embiid how to be a mature professional is shushing it. So if your mature professionals doing it, why wouldn't the big soft baby Joel Embiid do it as well? Now he's just taking it to a whole new level. About 10 minutes ago on Instagram, he posts a picture of himself shushing the home crowd, writes a comment, either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain from The Dark Knight, quote, and then Jimmy Butler, who 1,000% should be on this Sixers team, posts, "I know a place where villains are embraced," in reference to his Miami Heat. With Jimmy, he's got the villain. They had the LeBron villain saga down there. So I don't understand why Al Horford, who I hate, he's my least favorite Sixer. This is the worst contract in the history of the Sixers. Really the worst contract since Elton Brand was signed to big money coming from the Atlanta Hawks.
Chris Webber, too.
Don't even get me started on Chris Webber. Thank God his jersey didn't make the trip from the Mount Ephraim Real Talk Studios over here to the Runnymede Real Talk Studios. We got some good movie posters and some real legends on the wall here. But I mean, my God. But it's just like, I mean, what are we doing, Joe? Like what are we doing? Like, do you want to be the best? Do you want to be a killer instinct type of guy? You want to be a killer? Like, or you want to set lazy picks on the perimeter, get lazy reaching fouls when you're 7'2", let guys who are much smaller and much more athletic than you bully you in the post? I mean, I don't get it with this guy. I really don't. And I'm against trading Joel Embiid. I really am. As much as I'm,
you know darn well when you trade big time players like him, you never get equal value.
You can't.
No, you always get screwed
But
when you make trades like that.
If I told you that I didn't look in my little Rob Brinkman crystal ball here, and I saw a divorce between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers coming in the next couple of years, I'd be lying to you.
Listen, Rob, Shaq and Kobe broke up.
They did.
And
that's the problem with the Sixers is Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid think they're Shaq and Kobe when they haven't won jack shit in this league.
Well, the difference is that Shaq and Kobe won 3 in a row. So I mean
my phone fell. I'm all disoriented here.
The fact that they won 3 in a row. I mean, you can almost understand that happening. But Jordan didn't do that with Pippen.
No.
And Jordan wasn't exactly the easiest guy to get along with.
No, Jordan was a prick.
Yeah, but somehow Pippen managed to hang in there all those years.
Yeah, but Pippen's like a mellow guy. I mean, you see him on ESPN. He does a great job on ESPN. I love watching The Jump when he's on there. He seems like a mellow, go with the flow kind of guy who
he's also a Hall of Famer.
Could turn on the switch and be a killer on the basketball court when he needed to be.
He's also a great defensive player too.
But I don't understand the Sixers team because now we got Furkan Korkmaz, excuse me, the second coming of Steph Curry, if you ask some Sixers fans. Look, I don't think this guy's that good. I think he's on fire right now shooting, and I think that's terrific. But if the season ended right now, he's not in my playoff rotation. He's not talented enough, and he's not good enough at defense. And I do have to give Elton Brand a lot of credit at the trade deadline because I think he got 2 viable NBA bench players for a bunch of second-round picks, guys that probably going to play dividends when it comes to their playoff rotation. Whether that's good enough for this team to win a round, I don't know.
I think your problem is the coach. Really
Well,
starting.
I've been saying that for what?
I really starting to think that
4 out of our 5 years we've been on the air together, I've been telling people that Brett Brown fucking stinks. And now people are finally starting to realize that Brett Brown might stink. Brett Brown stinks. He stinks. The players don't respect him. He doesn't hold the players accountable. He's a terrible X and O coach. And he's supposed to be this great player developer, and he can't get anything out of Joe and Ben. I don't understand. He can't get Ben to shoot, and he can't get Joe to, like, focus and be the killer that I see that he can be.
I just don't get it with him. Yeah, I don't get it with him.
See, Joe thinks he's here, but Joe's here. Joe's really good. Joe thinks he's tremendous. Joe is not tremendous.
Joe's not
Joe's
Hakeem.
pretty good.
Joe thinks he's Hakeem, and he's not.
Well, because
Hakeem was a killer on defense and an intimidating player, and Joe is big enough to be that guy.
But Joe is soft. Hakeem was never soft.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. He was.
Look at his college days at Houston, and then he goes to the Rockets.
Everybody was afraid of him to drive down the middle.
No one's scared of Joel Embiid.
No, and
no
he
one.
needs to buck up and get an edge to him. For whatever reason, he's too nice a guy.
You know what? If this is what he needs, if he needs to just go at it and be a dumb idiot on social media to unlock that killer instinct, then okay, fine. But why don't you show me the killer instinct, then go on social media.
Start playing. You know what you'd like to see out of him is start playing mad. You know, he never seems to have that. He never seems to have that edge to his game, and you'd really like to see that because if he had an edge to his game, he'd be unstoppable.
I agree with that.
I
don't understand why we don't have to.
Look at Shaq. Shaq didn't have half the talent. He doesn't have half the talent.
Different
Joel
players,
Embiid, but he doesn't have half the talent Joel Embiid had. Shaq would never be able to make 3-pointers the way Embiid does, and Shaq didn't have all those moves Embiid has.
I don't know
down
about.
low.
I don't really understand.
Shaq was a powerhouse. He was
right.
an unstoppable bowling ball that nobody could stop and get to the basket, and nobody wanted to try to stop him because he would just run you over. You know, on his way to the basket, on his way to dunking the ball. If you happened to be in the way, you were you were just considered collateral damage. I mean, let's be honest, okay? But I mean, at this point, he needs to get an edge. You know, I was talking about that in hockey, that I want to see the Flyers get somebody like that. That's what Joe needs to do, and I mean, he should have it in him. You know, I mean, if he concentrated on having an edge, with the other team as much as he seems to with the fans.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
is he in his own little world or something? I don't get it.
That's probably the understatement of the fucking century. Joel Embiid being in his own little world.
I mean, listen,
that's what he is. He's in Joel Embiid's own little world.
He doesn't have to be Charles Oakley, okay? You know, he doesn't have to be that guy, but you know.
Remember when they got in the fight they got in the fight with the Wolves?
Remember when he got into a fight with the Nets, throwing the elbows and being a prick last year in the playoffs?
That's what I want to. That's what I want to see.
What happened to this guy? Where is this guy?
He did that. Then he got sick, and then he didn't show up against the Raptors.
But what I'm saying is, he was doing it he was a prick against the Nets. Where did this guy go?
The problem also is, I mean, this guy's head is so far up his ass that the littlest thing goes wrong in the game, and his body language goes to complete shit.
Well, he pouts on the court,
right?
Which you really can't do.
And I can't stand Al Horford. Al Horford sticks out on this team like a sore thumb. I don't understand because.
I mean, is he supposed to be their emotional leader, Al Horford? What is his function on this team?
I feel like that's what he got brought in to be. But I mean, Josh Richardson seems to be the leader of this team.
But he doesn't score enough, and he's not on the court enough.
No, because the coach is just so lost when it comes to X and O basketball that he wants Al Horford just jacking threes the whole game.
But he's not a 3-point shooter.
Trust me, we know in Philadelphia, and it's extremely.
He never
extremely.
Was. He never was. He's a real good defensive player, and he's got a nice inside game. I don't get that at all.
And if he's going to be set the example of shushing the home crowd, I don't want Joe following that example.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's a waste of time.
But see, your coach has to sit Horford down.
Well, I mean,
I don't think he can really do it with
Brett
Embiid,
Brown did say today the one smart thing that Brett Brown's done this season. He said that he wasn't aware that Joe shushed the crowd. The media told him asked him about it, and he said he didn't see it. And if it was true, that he was going to sit Joe down and talk to him. But it's just bad situational awareness.
Why would you do that to your fans?
I mean, I get the Philadelphia fans can be temperamental and overly critical.
And what fan
overly
base?
critical.
And what
I'm
fan
at the
base
head of
isn't?
that line, but I mean,
What fan base isn't? You name me one that isn't temperamental.
that's
and critical.
in the Northeast, or that has
In the Northeast.
that has
I mean,
chance to win.
Al Horford. You played in Boston for Christ's sake. They're the meanest fan. They might be the meanest fans in the league. They're very close to it. You know, I mean, there are three brutal cities, and Al Horford's played in two of them, Philly and Boston. The only one left for him is New York. I mean, this is how it is in the East. Washington is the same way. If you anything from Washington D.C. north, we're brutal. It's just that's what we are. But I'll tell you what, you go to Cleveland, they're pretty nasty too. So there are other cities that can be tough on you too. I'm sorry, but you know what, you guys need to put your big boy pants on and get things moving.
I don't understand. Like, what do you want us to do? Just be St. Louis Cardinals fans and just cheer everything?
Apparently, in their world, that's what they think is going to happen. You know what? I mean, I don't know. If there was a way that you could get Bryce Harper's brain into Joel Embiid's body, you'd have one hell of a player.
I hate to break it to Joel Embiid, but I mean, he's accomplished
nothing
in this basketball league.
He hasn't
Ben Simmons has accomplished nothing.
Yeah, you got to
in this basketball league.
You got to at least get to the finals. You know, I'm not saying you have to win a championship because that's hard to do. You have to be the better team, and you need to have home court.
Whether they can right the ship or not, I mean, they're not going to the finals. You forget about that. No one's beaten Milwaukee at all.
Milwaukee, really.
They're a tremendous basketball team.
Milwaukee's
all
a lot
their
better.
Pieces fit together.
They're a lot better this year.
You can't just throw a bunch of talent. I know talent wins in the NBA, and more so in the NBA than any other league, professional league, on the face of the earth. But you can't just throw a bunch of talent on the league. It's got to fit together. It's got to be somewhat of a puzzle.
Oh,
I
agree
think that's what happened.
That's to be the right
with the Al Horford signing.
Basketball is a very much a chemistry kind of game. You have to have the right guys fitting with the right guys.
Because I thought the Golden State Warriors, albeit they're a 10-win team this year,
that's because of injuries though.
But they won the NBA trade deadline, in my opinion. They were to trade D'Angelo Russell to the Wolves for Andrew Wiggins. Is Andrew Wiggins as good a player as D'Angelo Russell? No. But Andrew Wiggins is going to fit with Draymond, Clay, and Steph way better than D'Angelo Russell would.
Yeah, and he also is going to be with a program, with a winning program, with the right kind of players. And you know what? They may get him to realize his potential.
He's going to be able to just play defense, which he's excellent at.
He was the first pick in the draft, wasn't he?
He was, yes. He was the first pick in that draft.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Yes.
So, I mean, there obviously is a lot of untapped talent there. So, maybe with the right team
he's an
and
excellent
the right system.
defender, and I think you're right about that because he's not going to have to go out and score 30 points a game for them to be successful.
No, he just has to
He's
do
going to be able
whatever.
to score 10 to 15 points and D up, and he'll be a success.
Whatever Kerr decides, and Kerr is a good coach, by the way. Whatever role
he's probably the best coach in the league.
Yeah, whatever role. Well, I think Stevens is
he's pretty good
right
too.
there
But
too.
I mean,
And the guy in San Antonio is pretty darn good
Greg
too.
Popovich.
Popovich, he's pretty darn
Well, he's
good
not
too.
a good coach without Tim Duncan at power forward. Did you notice that?
Well, yeah. Well, nobody is.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, or Tony Parker. He doesn't have Tony Parker either, so that
No.
might be a little bit of a problem. But did they still have that European guy, or is he gone now?
Manu?
Yeah,
he's
Ginobili.
gone,
He's
yeah.
long gone, right?
Yeah, they have DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. Nice players, but they're probably not going to make the playoffs. in the West.
Aldridge is okay, but I know in
But,
today's
I mean-
NBA, it doesn't seem like he's that great a fit.
I'm just at wit's end. And like if this Instagram thing tonight was just a standalone thing,
Well, he's acting like a child,
that's
and
fine.
the coach kind of
But
just
it's the Instagram thing. It's the injuries. It's being sick and out of shape in the playoffs last year. It's shushing the home fans. It's just tiring and exhausting. And he's not that good.
I mean,
to
do the fans
He's
notice
not that good
did
to
the
be
fans-
pulling all these shenanigans.
Did the fans boo him when he did that?
I don't know if they booed him, but they noticed and they crushed him.
Okay, yeah, I was going to
And,
say, man, oh,
it
man.
was caught right on the TV broadcast, him doing it. Like, I forget what he did. He made a dunk or blocked a shot or something and
I thought he made a 3 or
shushed
something
the
like
fans.
that. Yeah,
He did something good and then shushed the fans.
that's
It
not-
was late in the game, so I was kind of checked out. They
he better
had it
he
in.
better watch himself though, because you know what, Philly fans can be pretty rough, and if he starts doing that crap and they start losing, every time he touches the ball, he's going to get booed.
They have been losing.
Yeah, well,
And these 2 games, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I like that they won these last 2 games. They did what they were supposed to do. But these last 2 games have not changed my outlook on this basketball team.
well,
I think they'll be extremely fortunate to win a playoff round.
problem is, Rob, their road record is the same as the Knicks' road record,
Because, I mean,
and that in itself is a big problem. For the Knicks and the Sixers to be even mentioned in the same sentence,
is a problem.
for them to be mentioned in the same paragraph is a
Yeah.
problem.
I mean,
Okay, the same book is a problem. That should not happen. I mean, and at this point, I mean, that coach really, I think you're right. I think he is the problem.
he's just, look, seems like a real nice guy. And
Well, that's probably the problem.
they've
then.
really kind of backed the truck over his head all those years, telling him to lose on purpose. But, I mean, enough's enough. It's time to make a change. In terms of tomorrow's game, I expect them
big
to
test. Big test.
I expect them to show up. I don't expect them to win the basketball game at all, even though they are at home.
They did beat the Lakers at home.
They did.
I mean, they have it in them. I know they lost to Miami
But
at
this is
home,
the
but you know what?
last-
But-
This is the last. I believe this is their last game before
The All-Star break.
the All-Star break. So this is the first game of a road trip for the Clippers, whereas the Lakers, it was their 4th game in 6 nights and the last game of their road trip. And
May have been looking forward to getting home.
And, I don't want to diminish the Lakers' win because it was a great win, but they haven't done anything of substance since.
Well, again, they have a chance to prove it tomorrow. So,
And Kawhi and Patrick Beverly, and I would imagine Paul George
yeah, they'll be out there.
will be in the lineup. Montrezl Harrell. The Clippers are a really good team, and they were able to pick up your boy from the Knicks, Marcus Morris,
He's a good player.
at the trade deadline.
He's a good player.
He's tough, and he's big, and he's strong.
Yeah, I don't know what the Knicks think they're getting in Markles.
What did they get in the trade?
What's the guy's name? Markles? Guy hasn't done shit. Somebody who hasn't done shit in his career, and they got a first-round pick. I mean,
They did it for the pick.
yeah, no, I understand that,
Not
but
that the Clippers pick's going to
but the
be
pick
anything
is,
special.
what's the Clippers pick going to be? 30?
Is it the Clippers pick? Or
Yeah.
is it somebody else's
No,
pick?
it's the Clippers pick. What's it going to be, like the 30th pick? I mean,
Well,
you're
I
going to get
mean-
or the 29th pick? I mean, unless the Clippers go early, it's going to be a real late pick.
Look, I still like the Lakers in the West. You know why I like the Lakers in the West,
Because
Brad?
you like LeBron.
No, I mean besides that, because what we just talked about, their team fits together perfectly.
Well, so does the Clippers, though.
Yeah, but if you were gonna handpick skill sets to play around Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Really around LeBron James. You know, you have Anthony Davis and Danny Green.
Oh, you have a guy that you have a guy that can go. You got a guy that can go low.
You have great.
Yeah, but you have a guy that has the low post game, and then you have the great playmaker, and then you've got all the shooters.
And the
I mean,
Clippers-
they've done a good job in putting the right guys around them, without a doubt.
Yeah, they didn't just throw a bunch of talent together. Because
No.
if you're going to do that and they're not going to fit together, you have to be the most talented team by leaps and bounds to win.
And they're not.
Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, remember the Olympic teams that didn't even win medals,
Yeah.
where they just kind of just picked the best players and they
Yeah,
didn't
instead
fit
of players
together
that
at
go
all.
together. Yeah.
Like, I feel that's what the Sixers are.
Yeah. I mean,
For them to be sixth, fifth in the East,
the
they're
Sixers
flirting between
should
fifth
be
and sixth.
the Sixers. I mean, listen, maybe JJ Redick, getting rid of him wasn't the right move. I mean, he was a good shooter. I mean, that's the thing. With the kind of team they have, they need to have.
I mean, I
shooters on
guess
their
you can
team.
say that now, even though I didn't have a problem with it. I'd rather have Jimmy Butler instead of Josh Richardson, but Josh Richardson, he gives you more
Yeah,
than
but Jimmy
JJ
Butler,
Redick.
for whatever reason, decided he didn't want to play here. I don't know what the issue was.
I don't understand what the issue was either.
Jimmy Butler's a strange kind of guy. I mean, I thought the fans treated him very well here.
I love Jimmy Butler. I was going to buy his jersey.
I mean, I think everybody.
If they
did.
re-signed him, I would buy his jersey. He'd be by far my favorite player because he's got balls, Brad.
No, I know. I
And
know he does.
He fits with
Yeah.
Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons because as good, as talented, and as high a potential that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid have, they're not killer. They don't have killer
No,
instincts,
and
and
he
they're not
does.
closers.
He does, and he does, and
And Jimmy
he'll take the big shot.
Jimmy can flip a switch in the last 6 to 8 minutes of the game and take over, which he did so many times down the stretch for this period. He almost won Game 7. Or not, it was Game 6. No, they lost Game 7 to the Raptors
Yeah.
when it doinked around. And they were dead in the water until about 6 minutes ago, and Jimmy just flipped the switch and
almost
got
won
him right
that
back
game.
in the game.
They almost won that game.
They did.
If it wasn't for a lucky bounce, so the Flyers just got an empty netter to put it away.
So that's 4-1. Flyers going to
Game over.
a big 2 points
The
for
puck
the
went
Fly
right
guys.
into the,
4-1. Carter Hart played excellent. The Flyers look good, man. Flyers look good.
That's what I'm saying.
They're going to be a pain in the ass. They're going to be a
They
pain in the ass to get out of the playoffs here. All right, before we move on to baseball, let me go through the NBA scoreboard. The Toronto Raptors, they're up 106-94 on the Minnesota Timberwolves. How about the Bucks in trouble tonight at home against the Sacramento Kings? Still a lot of time left. They're down 74-72. 8 minutes to go in the third.
Plenty of time.
Utah blowing out Dallas 70-50.
Is Doncic playing?
No, he's injured.
Oh, okay, he's still out. Okay.
Yeah, and the Jazz they're a pretty good team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of be expected if he's still out. So.
The Spurs up by 12 on the Nuggets. That's surprising. Nuggets at home, usually pretty solid. That's just in the end. We do have some finals in. The Hornets beat the Pistons. The Nets beat the Pacers.
In Indiana?
In Indiana, 106-105. That's
a
good for
big
your
win for-
Philadelphia 76ers. If
That's-
you can win tomorrow,
that's a
pick
good
up
win.
a game.
That's a good win for the
The
Nets.
Rockets can beat the Celtics. That's a big game tomorrow as well. You pick up some games, maybe, and then the Magic, they beat the Hawks. Who cares? Nobody cares about that game. Miami and Golden State. Miami out west. It's gonna be at 10:30. So that's something to keep your eye on before you go to bed. Check the score of that game.
I would think Miami would have their way.
You would think, but I don't know.
Then again,
It's
you never know.
kind of a goofy night here in the NBA. A lot of these bottom feeders are jumping up. Brooklyn's not a bottom feeder. Kyrie Irving's not playing, but
Brooklyn seems to play better when he doesn't play, to be quite honest with you.
yeah, Kyrie looks to be a tough guy to get along with. For
Yeah,
as
I
good
think
as he
I think
is.
once Durant is on the team, I think all the problems will be solved. But let's be honest, for this year, Brooklyn's not a serious contender.
No, they're gonna make the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round again. Maybe they can win 2 games instead of 1, but they're not a serious. They're not. They can't be taken seriously yet.
I would hashtag agree. All right, let's move on to baseball. Got a lot to talk about with baseball right now.
Yes, we
Phillies
do.
pitchers and catchers, they're going to be starting up this week. Probably when do the Yankees start?
This week.
This week. Everyone's going to be starting this week. Mookie Betts, officially a Dodger.
Yes, the Boston Red
Sure,
Sox.
Yankees Nation is jumping for
We
joy
are-
over that.
We are thrilled that the Red Sox are going to stink
don't-
this year.
It really is going to be bad. And I don't know who the Dodgers GM is. I couldn't name him off the top of my head. But what a
He just
good
wrote out.
job he did.
Yeah, I mean,
So
the fact that
he
the Red
got
Sox got
The
gave him all
Dodgers,
that money.
the Dodgers go out. They get David Price, who's going to be third, maybe fourth starter there. Some good pitchers there.
He's going to be the number 3 pitcher.
number 3 pitcher. They get Mookie Betts, who now they have 2 of the top 5 position players in baseball, by my count, in Bellinger and Betts.
Agreed.
They get $50 million, and they give up Kenta Maeda and
Verdugo.
and they get Bradislav Grigel, which sorry if I'm pronouncing his name
I don't know
wrong,
how you
from the
pronounce that guy.
Twins. He's a top 100 prospect.
He has had some injury issues,
I
but
mean,
he throws 100 miles an hour.
but like, I mean, what's going on? Like,
The Dodgers.
what are we doing here?
The
What-
Dodgers basically fleeced the Red Sox.
You see, I don't care how bad Dombrowski screwed you guys in terms of the luxury tax. You don't trade a player like Mookie Betts.
No, or wait
Ever.
till, at least wait till the deadline.
Ever.
At least wait till
You
the
sign
deadline.
him. You add zeros until you sign him.
Yeah.
What the Red Sox should have done is paired Andrew Benintendi with David Price to get rid of David Price. Because I think David Price has seen his best days are behind him.
David Price
and
is
he makes
over
way
the hill.
too much
And
money.
not only that, but let's be honest. David Price, when he sees the Yankees, he folds up like a.
Yeah, he quakes. He'll
He's-
face one less hitter. He
yeah.
won't have to take the DH. He's out of the
He
big
doesn't
bad
have to
AL
face-
East.
He doesn't have to face Houston anymore, and he doesn't have to face the Yankees. And both teams used to just annihilate, especially the Yankees. The Yankees used to just
You
annihilate
never trade a guy as good as Mookie Betts.
them. No.
Ever.
No.
Ever, never, ever, ever, ever in a billion, trillion fucking years do you trade a guy the caliber of Mookie Betts. Ever. Trading David Price is good. A good idea to shed some payroll.
Oh, I listen.
And you have to give
that's
up
not a
something
bad idea.
to have people take that contract.
Yeah, but you don't have
Brad,
to give up Mookie Betts to do
I'm
it.
not sure how good Andrew Benintendi is.
Andrew Benintendi.
I'm not sure
just
how good
signed,
he is.
He just signed, instead of going to arbitration, he just signed a 2-year contract for $10 million, $5 million a year.
I don't know how good he is.
I don't think he's all that good. He's okay. It's like a 270 hitter with.
I mean, he had a good 6
15
weeks. He had a good 6 weeks last year.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and I had him on my fantasy team, and he was not very good last year. I benched him quite a bit last year because he just wasn't good,
I mean,
and I couldn't give him away when I tried to trade him. Nobody wanted him.
yeah. I mean, he plays outfield. There's millions
It's like
of
a
outfielders.
270. He's like a 270 hitter.
I don't think he's all that good.
Who couldn't hit? Who couldn't hit?
And
lefties.
before everyone figures out that he's not that good, you pair him with Price. Yeah, you're not going to get Verdugo back, which I like Verdugo. Looks like a
I
pretty
think
good.
Verdugo's pretty good.
Looks like a
but,
pretty good player.
but
I
he's
think
not-
he's going to be able to hit leadoff
he's not
for
Mookie
them.
Nah, Benintendi's going to.
Yeah, he's 23. He doesn't have anything left to prove in the minors, and he plays a decent right field. But
He hit last year for the Dodgers when
did.
when he
he
played.
battled some injuries. But I mean, the Dodgers were also loaded. So
He's also a left-handed hitter, and I don't know how well he's going to play at Fenway Park. I don't recall him being a power hitter to left field, a guy that hits the ball to left field a lot.
no, he's more of a overall hitter than a power hitter. I mean, we'll see how his power develops.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's true. But
I mean,
right field in Fenway Park, you have to really hit a bomb to get the ball. Unless you hit it right down the line, you better hit a bomb to hit one out in Fenway.
like I
in
see
right
batting
field.
titles in his futures, not home run king titles.
Okay, he's got more of an upside for
Yes.
that than home run. I would agree
Yes.
with that.
He had a clean swing. He hits line drives.
Well, here's my other question: what's Mookie Betts going to be like in L.A. as far as hitting? It's not going to be in Fenway Park
loaded.
anymore.
I mean, look. I mean,
I'm just stating the obvious. Okay, he was
I get it.
He was a great Fenway Park hitter. Not so much on the road. I mean, that's a big question mark as far as I'm concerned. Listen, I'm not saying Mookie Betts isn't a great player. I'm not saying I wouldn't take him on the Yankees. Of course I would. I'm just saying I don't know how good
He had
a player
a down
he is.
year. He had a down year last year. He hit 280 with 30 home runs.
295, I think.
Did he hit that high?
Yeah, I think it was 295.
But I mean, the Dodgers are loaded. He's also
Yes.
he's probably going to hit leadoff there.
Mookie Betts is going to hit leadoff? No.
Unless they keep Jock Peterson, because that trade with the Angels
Did that trade go through yet?
has not gone through yet.
Yeah, he may make the most sense as a leadoff hitter.
But I mean, they're going to have
The only problem is
Peterson in center,
pitched-
Betts in right.
If he hits with the behind the pitcher after his first at bat, I mean, doesn't that kind of take his effectiveness away a little bit?
I don't know,
Especially
maybe he hit the pitcher eighth. I don't know what they're going to.
Yeah,
Dave
I
Roberts
guess.
pretty good manager. They're in the World Series,
Well, 'cause
deep
they
into
have-
the playoffs
'cause-
all the
'cause
time.
They have a lot of talent.
But I mean, I don't know.
I'm just trying to think.
Max
what
Muncy can't hit leadoff.
No,
Bellinger's not going to hit leadoff.
No.
Corey Seager's not going to hit leadoff.
maybe he could.
Mm,
Does he run a lot?
no.
Can he run? No.
Trying
Who's
to think.
their left fielder?
Turner's not going to hit leadoff.
No. Who plays left field for them? Well, now that Peterson's gone, I mean, I think
But
Peterson's
Peterson's not gone.
Oh, he's still there. Yeah, but he'll
He
end up
was
getting-
traded, but everything got held up because the Red Sox got cold feet.
He'll get traded.
Let me
though.
pull up.
He'll get traded.
The Dodgers. The Dodgers. Okay, this is according to RotoChamp, so their projected lineup for the Dodgers. I guess they could
They're
hit
pretty good.
They could hit Pollock leadoff. He's their left fielder. They gave him
Yeah.
some money last year. So their projected lineup: Betts, Muncy, Turner, Bellinger, Seager, Pollock, Will Smith, the catcher, and Gavin Lux, hot shot prospect. Looks like he's going to be their everyday second baseman.
They're going to
hitting
be pretty
eighth.
good. They're definitely going to have a good offense, and they have
Kershaw, Bueller, Price, Wood, Urias as their five.
I'm not
starters.
too scared of their fourth and fifth pitchers, but their first three are okay.
I'm sorry, Ross Stripling.
I thought he was gone. I thought they got rid of him.
Unless RotoChamp is wrong, he is still on the team.
Okay, I thought he was. I thought they let him go, but okay, that's
So
possible.
I don't really envision a scenario where it's not the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series.
I would agree with you about that.
So I mean, the Astros are pretty good. They lost Cole, and I don't think
That's a big
anybody. I don't think anybody can predict how they're going to respond
To the cheating.
to cheating.
Well, I think I'll tell you what I could see.
I don't want to call
A
it
lot-
the stealing signs. I don't want to call it cheating
No,
because
they-
everybody does it.
Not with buzzers, and not by banging trash cans. That's a bit much.
It was a bit much, and they got penalized.
No,
I don't want to
they-
get. I don't want to get in the
Last year may have been the most
ethics of
egregious
sign stealing.
with the buzzer.
Was that proven that they used a buzzer?
How come Hinch didn't deny it?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't want
okay.
to talk about that. I don't want to
I-
talk.
I'm
I
just-
don't want to talk about
listen,
that.
I'm
I
just-
don't want to talk about that.
I'm
We've been
just
down
saying,
that road. We
Houston-
disagree on it.
Houston
and
is going to. Houston is going
your
to.
motives for being against the scandal are impure because the Yankees fell
I think-
victim to the
I think
Astros a
that-
couple of times
I
during
think
that
that
run over
I
the
think
last
that
few years.
Altuve, since they were proven cheated, I think he should be stripped of his MVP. I think that should go to Aaron
You
Judge.
Shocker.
Well, because he cheated. I mean, he flat out cheated.
Slippery
And I
slope
think-
when you start stripping these awards, then you're just gonna strip.
Well, what do you think? That's nothing happened to the players. I mean, all Houston got really was a slap on the wrist. Big deal. They lost a couple of draft picks. They won a world championship. They were in the World Series last year. Do you know how much additional revenue they made? They got fined $5 million. But meanwhile, all those home games for the World Series. I mean, are you kidding me? Baseball, Rob Manfred might be the stupidest commissioner in all of sports. I think he may be dumber than Roger Goodell, and that's really hard to do, to be a more asinine man.
Well, I'll
than
tell you
Roger
one
Goodell.
thing. All this news breaking with them just totally retooling the playoffs, I couldn't be against it more. It's a bunch of nonsense.
First of all, the 3-batter minimum. Why? Because some stupid
I
ass.
get it. They're
'cause
trying to
some
speed
stupid
up the game.
Oh, come on. You know what? It's ridiculous already. If you go to a baseball game where it's going to take an extra 10 minutes because they made a couple of pitching changes, I mean, come on.
I agree with you on that.
You're
Either
ruining
you
the
like
strategy.
baseball
If
or
you don't like baseball, then
Don't
don't go to the
watch.
damn games. Okay? Period. Don't watch it. You know what? I want to see a lefty come in to pitch late to a tough hitter. I mean, that's if you have a lefty to bring in late in the game to face the other team. If somebody
All right,
wants to bring in a lefty to face Bryce
All right,
Harper,
can we just
they
focus
can
on
do it.
the new proposed playoff format?
Yeah, well, that's not going to fly. I
It
can tell you
can't.
right.
It can't. It's a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
Look, first off, 7 teams in each league making the playoffs.
Why are you playing 162 games then?
That's way too many. I think the 10 teams out of the 30 making the playoffs, that's a third of the league.
That's enough.
Perfect.
That's enough.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So who make 12 out of 32 make it in the NFL? That's what? Percentage wise.
That's about maybe that's like 40% maybe, 35%, something like that.
35, 30%. But you can't have it's my biggest criticism of the NHL and the NBA. Too many teams make it, I think.
Agreed.
Especially in the NBA.
Well, 16 teams.
At least the hockey always has our playoffs are the best, most competitive because anybody can win to fall back on. But I mean, I don't understand. Then you having a reality TV show where the top seed and each team can pick who they're going to play, and you have a 3-game series where one team gets every home game, which is a bunch of bullshit, by the way. You're good enough to make the playoffs. You should get a home game. So
I mean,
they're losing their way.
Yeah, well, again, it's Rob Manfred who is the clueless commissioner who doesn't know what he's doing, and he's ruining baseball. But that's the way it is. We can't really change it. As I said, I did want to make the case about pitchers pitching to a 3-batter minimum.
Yeah, you don't like it. I don't like it either.
I think it's ridiculous. What happens? What happens in the 9th inning if you bring in a pitcher and he only pitches to one batter and gives up the game-winning home run? Do you get fined for that because he only pitched to one batter? It's just so ridiculous.
All right, so this is from Joel Sherman. These are quotes from Joel Sherman. MLB is seriously weighing a move from 5 to 7 playoff teams in each league beginning in 2022. In this concept, the team with the best record in each league would receive a bye week to avoid the wild card round and go directly to the division series. Not against that. I'm not against the part where the best team has a bye. Not against that at all. The other 2 division winners and the wild cards with the next best records would each host all 3 games in a best-of-3 wild card round. So the bottom 3 wild cards could have no first-round home games. 2 thumbs way down.
Stupid.
First of all, 7 teams in each league making the playoffs in baseball. Way too many.
Especially when you have 162
what's
games.
Game 7 of the World Series? What's going to be on Christmas? I mean, what are we doing here?
Thanksgiving.
What are we doing here? And
come on.
If you grind it out over 162 games and make the postseason, you get 1 home game. If you're going to do a best of 3,
Yeah,
which I hate. Now, this is where they totally lose me. The division winner with the second best record in a league would then get the first pick of its opponent from those lower 3 wild cards. Then the other division winner would pick, leaving the last 2 wild cards to play each other. Huh? So you're gonna have
what do you think? It's the All-Star game, and
so you're gonna have the
teams?
first round, best of 3 with one team getting all the home games, which is awful. Awful. They already lost me right there. So then what? You have one team.
The other two
moving.
teams. That means the other two teams.
So then you have. Hold on. You have what? 6. You have what? 4 teams left. So there's 3 best of 7, 3 best of 3 series.
Mm-hmm.
So 3. Then there's 4. So then gets to pick.
Yeah, they get to pick
whoever they want to play.
Yeah,
it's nonsense.
It's ridiculous. I've never
That's
heard of
nonsense.
anything so stupid in my life.
Because you can adapt. Because they're catching a lot of heat because no one likes that the wild card is 1 game.
Right.
Which I get. I don't really like that either, but it is exciting.
Yeah.
And it's must-see TV.
And it makes the division. It makes it the division.
Yes, it puts an extra emphasis on winning the division.
It puts a premium on winning the division. I just think they should leave it alone. I think they've got a good
now, what if
system
you
right
did?
now.
What if you did? Because I have my idea of my own. My idea would be, because I'll work with them a little bit. They want to change their playoffs. That's fine. 7 teams is too many. 5 teams in each league is plenty. I'll buy that the number 1 seed. Give them a bye week to the championship series. Then you have
the 2 division winners playing the
second
2
and third division winners playing the 2 wild card teams in actual 5-game series.
Here's the problem with that. You are screwing up the integrity of winning the division again.
No.
Yeah, because if you win, it doesn't matter if you're the wild card or the division winner, you're still going to make the playoffs. And you're still going to get a 5-game series.
I don't even know if what I just said would even work. Because you would have to.
Then you'd have 3 teams.
Because then you have 3 teams left.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't even work.
No. Yeah. Look, the way they have it right now.
It seems like they're dead set on getting rid of the one-and-done wild
Well,
card.
I'm going to tell you what really I think is going on, okay? What I think is going on is they want to put the DH in the National League.
Which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, but a lot of National League fans are not. And
Yeah, but enough's enough where they play the same sport and one league has one set of rules and the other league has another set of rules. It's a totally different game.
But I think that what they're doing is they're floating something that's outrageous so that the public says, well, okay, you could do the DH,
just don't do
anything,
that.
but don't do that. And I think that's kind of what they're doing.
It might work.
Well, because what they're proposing is just completely outrageous. It's. I mean, it'll work because it'll have to work.
You're having a selection show where the Yankees,
selection show,
the number 1 team. Let's say it's the Yankees. Get there. Oh well, we
Cashman,
were under 500 against this team, so we want to play them.
We really had our problems against Oakland. You know what? I think I want to play Minnesota. Well, you know what happens when you play Minnesota if Minnesota beats you? You know, I mean, how is that
you look
productive?
like a horse's ass.
Yeah, how is that productive that you're embarrassing a team that they're going to play? I mean,
right?
That's productive.
Stupid.
That you're embarrassing somebody. What? Since when do we embarrass another team?
There's got to be a way to scheme this.
Yeah, that can't.
To get rid of the one and done wild card game,
Oh.
which I actually like, but I get why people don't like it.
Well, I could see 2 out of 3. I could see that.
For the wild card?
Yeah. 3-game series. Whoever wins 2. Whoever has the better record gets the 3 home games. Or if you want to go,
I get you don't want to diminish winning the division. But don't you think playing a 3-game series and then having to go play the Yankees, that's impossible.
Well, win the division.
I know, but that's
you
too
don't
much.
deserve.
That's too much of a penalty for not winning your division, in my opinion.
It's hard, but I mean, listen, if you win the division, then you should have an advantage.
How can you do that?
It should mean something.
You could do 6 teams in each league and do it like the NFL does.
Listen, Rob, they could have a.
I'm just saying.
They could have a
there's
3-game.
a lot of ways to do it
But
without
you could
doing this bullshit
All
and
right.
just changing the
Hear
whole
me.
way that the playoffs are done.
Hear me out, okay? You play if the season ends on a Sunday, for example.
Okay, which it always
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They play the 3-game series. The next series doesn't start till Saturday. At least give the team 2 days off so that their bullpen they can rest their bullpen.
Why don't you just do it like the NFL? Why don't you just do it? You have 3 division winners, 3 wild cards, 6 teams get in. Top 2 teams get a bye.
You could do that.
The number 1 seed plays the team with the worst record.
3 plays 6, 4 plays.
Advantage.
3 plays 6 and 4 plays. You could do that. 3 plays 6 and 4 plays.
I'm not
5.
a big fan of that because I think 10 out of the 30 teams making the playoffs is plenty.
Well, again, my problem with that is that you are penalizing if you win the division. The team who has the worst record that wins the division is being penalized when they won their division, and any team that wins the division should have an advantage because they won a division.
The NFL format, bringing that to baseball, is better than this nonsense.
Yeah, I would agree. Anything's better than the nonsense that they just came up with. I hope against hope that they don't do that because that would be just not good. And to embarrass a team. What you go up to Brian Cashman, hey Brian,
and if you're gonna
who do you guys want to play in the first round? Well, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna say the Twins. We don't need to rub the Twins' noses in it like that. I mean, it's bad enough the fans are gonna rub your noses in it.
The worst, and to make it doubly worse, they want to put it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's not like they're going to Brian Cashman off to the side and say, all right, who do you want to play? No, they want to make Brian Cashman rub the Twins' noses in it or whatever team's noses in it on live TV.
I'm just
like
giving
they're giving out roses on The fucking Bachelor.
Yeah, I'm just giving you an
example. It's the worst idea ever.
Because the one team that just owns the other team in the playoffs would be the Yankees with the Twins.
Yeah, I get it. It's a good example.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, seriously? I mean, you think the Yankees, if they have a choice of playing Oakland or the Twins? Come on, what are you kidding me? Oakland, who beats their asses regularly, for what reason, I don't know, but they never beat Oakland. Or the Twins, who basically, when they see the Yankees, they quake, shiver, and die, before the games even start. Who do you think they're going to – and then how does Brian Cashman do it where he doesn't look like a complete horse's ass?
You can't.
Right. So
it's impossible.
Yeah. You can't do that. You're insulting somebody's intelligence by doing that. And infuriating the fans. You don't
Manfred,
need to do that.
he's having he's having some trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not all his fault.
Trouble.
It's not all his fault, but
yeah, but he's the buck.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The buck should stop with him. He should see this proposal and we're not doing this.
Yeah,
and
I don't know
if it's his idea, then
the owners don't care. They just want to make money. They want to squeeze every dime.
Right, and that's probably who's doing this. It's like, I mean, come on. You can't have
don't forget
everyone in the playoffs.
The Players Association also has to agree to that. And with the Players Association, it's going to say, okay, you want to play all these extra games. We don't want to play all these extra games. Then make the season 154 games instead of 162. Because we don't want to play until the middle of December or of November.
We're going to have the World Series and Christmas.
Yeah, it's pretty
synonymous.
stupid.
It's terrible. All right. Just about 10 o'clock. Flyers win. Sixers tomorrow. Baseball's run amok. We'll be back to talk about more of it next Monday. Till then, peace.